Hey guys, what's up? My name is Fleming. Welcome to a new film photography video. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 cameras you can get someone this Christmas. So this video has been requested a few times over the last few kind of weeks, and I'm sorry I didn't get to do it sooner. I've just been all over the place. I'm in London at the moment doing a bit of work for a very exciting project that will hopefully kick off in the new year. Here is my quick rundown of the top 10 cameras that I think you should get someone this Christmas. So first on the list is the budget camera that got me into doing film photography, which is the Canon EF 35mm. The reason I mention this camera is because it is a budget camera, but it also has some pretty cool features. So it's an f2.8 lens, it's a 38mm lens, and every time I used it, it gave me great results, and I also never really had to worry about it breaking because it was, it wasn't too expensive to replace. So that's definitely a camera I would highly recommend. You can see some of my results in the other Canon EF 35mm video, which I'm going to link down below in the description. Next up is this camera, the Contax T2. Anybody who's been following me on Instagram or on YouTube for the last while knows that I absolutely adore this camera. It is probably the best point and shoot camera you can get for 35mm film, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. The only problem with this camera is they are quite pricey, and with any of these cameras on this list, you have to remember that these cameras are almost 30 years old. Most of them are at least 20 years old, meaning that because there's a lot of electronics in them, they probably won't last forever. So just make sure you get a good copy of these. These also aren't cheap, so I think at the moment they're running for about €600–700. But if you really want to get someone a really special present, I'd highly recommend one of these. I don't think I could do a list of film cameras without mentioning Polaroids. I absolutely adore using Polaroids, so I would recommend the Polaroid 635, the 636 close-up, or the Polaroid Impulse. All of these take the Polaroid Originals 600 speed film, which you can get in most camera shops for about €20. So it is pricey for the film, but the cameras, they will last you a long time. The one thing I'll also recommend is, instead of getting them from a camera store directly, you can save a lot of money by getting a second-hand Polaroid camera. The only thing to look out for when you're buying a second-hand Polaroid camera is to make sure that it works. So if the seller has, a battery pack from a used roll of film, that he puts that in just to show you that the flash works and the motors work, and also just make sure that the rollers are completely clean. And those are really the only two issues you could have with a Polaroid camera. While we're talking about Polaroid cameras, I'm going to mention my favorite Polaroid camera, which is the Polaroid SX-70, which is the fold-up one that you've probably seen on my Instagram before. This uses ISO 160 speed film, and not many of them have flash, so they're more something for summer, but I would highly recommend them because they're quite a trendy accessory, and they are great. And they're also glass lensed, whereas the 600 series ones are plastic lens, so the quality of the image is actually much better as well. And they're also SLR cameras, meaning that you get to focus them, or else if you get the sonar version, it comes with autofocus as well as the manual option to focus them. Next up on the list, I'm going to mention an SLR that I have really enjoyed using, which is the Minolta X-300. For a lot of SLR cameras, the biggest difference is actually just the lenses, so the body doesn't matter. So if you get an XG1 or any of the other X700 Minolta bodies, as long as you can use the same lenses, you should get the same results. I really enjoyed using my X300 with the 50mm 1.7 lens. I've actually made a video about that, which you can find on my channel, and yeah, would highly recommend that. You can get them probably around €120 with a lens, maybe even less. If you want to go down the route of budget SLRs, any of the East German ones are great alternatives to like the Minoltas and the Canons for SLRs, because a lot of them come with Carl Zeiss lenses, and they use M42 thread lenses, which are really easy to get and really cheap to get as well. And the bodies themselves, you can probably pick one up for 20, 30, 40 euros, something like that. And you may have really good luck with actually getting a body that's in great condition with great lenses, a few sets of lenses, and yeah, you'll be flying then. And despite being budget, these cameras actually give really good results, and I would highly recommend those if you are looking for a budget SLR. The thing about the Praktica SLRs is that they are completely manual, meaning that you do not need to worry about batteries, and they are built like tanks, so they will just survive and keep going and keep going and keep going, and even if they do die, you know, you can replace the body fairly cheap. If someone you know is really into photography and they're looking at an SLR or a DSLR, the one camera I would recommend then is to get something like a Canon 500 or a Canon 1000. The reason being is these are often bundled with great Canon lenses that you can even use on a DSLR, and you can also use all of the Canon L lenses and all of the other EOS lenses on these film SLRs, and they are pretty cheap to get as well. And in terms of features, they feature a good autofocus and, you know, have all the same aperture priority modes and auto modes as the modern SLRs would have. The next camera on this list is something like this, which is the Yashica AW Mini, or something like a Yashica Mini Tech. These are really, really cheap, weatherproof cameras that you can just throw in your pockets, not worry about at all, and they actually give pretty good results. And this one has an f3.5 lens, so it's actually pretty sharp and lets in a good bit of light as well. So despite the price of this camera being quite high, I'm going to recommend one medium format camera, which is the Hasselblad 500 CM with the 80mm f2.8 lens. The reason that I recommend this is because I absolutely adore using it. It is amazing for doing studio shoots with and outdoor shoots with as well, and the quality that you get out of a medium format print is just insane. So I would recommend them, but the problem is you could look at about maybe €1,000 to get a proper, really nice setup for this. But there's a lot of other cheaper medium format cameras such as Bronicas and others, so you know, it would definitely pay off to have a look around. And last but not least on this list is one of my favorite cameras, which is the Olympus XA. As I mentioned when I did the Olympus XA video, I had 5 of these, and I've gotten about 30 requests from people trying to buy this off me, and sadly I sold all of them. But I would highly recommend them. Since making that video, the price of them has probably doubled, so they're really, really hard to find. And if you can find one, if you can find one in a good condition with a flash, then definitely grab it. If you can't find one, I would recommend the Olympus AF one. The reason is that this has the exact same Zuiko f2.8 lens in it. The only difference is it's a good bit bigger, and it's also an autofocus camera rather than being a rangefinder camera. So that was my rundown of the top 10 cameras to get someone interested in film photography this Christmas. Also check out the Amazon links down in the description, where I'm going to link a few films that I recommend getting. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at RNA Fleming. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and yeah, I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.